Acoma Pueblo, Sky City, the oldest continuously inhabited community in the U.S.
Imagine, for a moment, a vast expanse of desert stretching to the horizon, painted in shades of ochre, rust, and gold. Out of this ancient landscape rises a colossal monument, not carved by human hands, but sculpted by millennia of wind and water. This is a sandstone mesa, a giant table of rock standing sentinel over the New Mexico desert floor. It's a breathtaking sight, a testament to the raw, enduring power of nature. But as we draw closer, something extraordinary reveals itself. Perched atop this formidable fortress of stone, nearly 370 feet in the air, is a city. This is Acoma Pueblo, a place known to its people and the world as Sky City. This isn't a ruin or a long-abandoned relic. This is a living, breathing community, a place of homes, history, and heart that has existed here, against all odds, for centuries. We're about to step into a story that is older than the written history of America itself. This isn't a tale of conquest or grand empires, but one of resilience, spirit, and a profound connection to the land. The tone here is one of reverence and wonder, a gentle journey into one of North America's oldest continuously inhabited settlements. Join me as we explore the quiet streets, the sun-baked adobe homes, and the enduring spirit of the people who call this magnificent mesa home. As we begin our ascent, leaving the valley floor behind, the modern world seems to fade away. The road that winds up the side of the mesa is a relatively recent addition. For most of its history, the only way to reach Sky City was through a series of hand-carved staircases and precarious handholds cut directly into the sheer sandstone cliffs. Imagine the daily journey of the Acoma people, carrying water, food, and supplies up these vertical paths. Every step was an act of strength and determination, a physical bond with the very rock that gave them refuge. Reaching the summit, the air feels different. It's clearer, quieter. The world unfolds below you in a stunning panorama. Here, you're not just at a high altitude, you're standing on a platform of history. The layout of the Pueblo is organic, with rows of adobe homes lining unpaved streets. These aren't just houses, they are legacies, passed down through generations within the same families, often through the maternal line. Some of the walls you see contain timbers that have been scientifically dated back to the 12th century. Think about these beams were supporting roofs. Here centuries before Columbus sailed the ocean, life in Sky City has always been shaped by its environment. The homes are designed for the desert climate. The thick adobe walls, made from mud and straw, provide incredible insulation, keeping interiors cool during the scorching summer days and warm during the cold desert nights. They are built adjoined, often in multi-story blocks, creating a sense of community and shared existence. Rooftops are flat, used for drying corn, chilies, and other crops, and for social gatherings. Under the vast, starry sky, there's a natural wisdom in the architecture, a harmony between human need and the surrounding world. One of the most striking features you'll notice is the absence of modern utilities. For most of its history, and for many families who maintain their ancestral homes here today, there is no running water, no electricity, no sewer system. Water was, and still is, collected in natural cisterns on the mesa top, deep pools in the rock that capture precious rainwater. This reliance on the elements fosters a deep respect for resources, a lesson in sustainability that the modern world is only just beginning to realize. At the heart of the Pueblo stands the massive San Esteban del Rey mission. Its sheer scale is awe-inspiring. Built between 1629 and 1640, this church is a complex symbol of Acoma's history. It represents the arrival of Spanish missionaries and a period of immense challenge and change for the Acoma people. The story of its construction is legendary. Every single timber in its massive roof had to be carried on foot from the San Mateo Mountains, over 30 miles away, and then hauled up the steep cliffs of the mesa. The Acoma people were forced to build this monument, and yet they endured. Today, It stands not just as a Catholic church, but as a testament to the resilience of the Acoma spirit, a place where ancient beliefs and new faiths have found a way to coexist. But Acoma is not defined by its buildings alone. It is defined by its people and their art. Acoma is world-renowned for its pottery. The potters, almost exclusively women, use traditional methods, passed down through countless generations. They gather clay from a secret, sacred source near the Pueblo, temper it with crushed pottery shards, and hand-coil it into impossibly thin-walled vessels. The designs are intricate, often geometric, and painted with a yucca leaf brush using natural pigments. Each pot tells a story, a prayer for rain, a symbol of life, a connection to the sky and the earth. To hold a piece of Acoma pottery is to hold a piece of the mesa itself. As we walk through the quiet lanes, you might see a potter sitting outside her home, patiently painting a new creation, or the smell of bread baking in an outdoor oven, known as an horno. You'll hear the Acoma language, Korisan, spoken a language that has echoed across this mesa for 1,000 years. It's in these simple, everyday moments that you feel the true pulse of Sky City. It's a place that has weathered sieges, droughts, and the pressures of a changing world, yet is held fast to its core identity. The history of Acoma is one of incredible endurance. It survived the Pueblo Revolt of 1680, a united uprising against Spanish rule, and has navigated the complex currents of American history ever since. While most residents now live in the more modern villages of Acomita and McCartysville in the valley below for convenience, Sky City remains the spiritual and cultural heart of the nation. Families return for feast days, for ceremonies, and to connect with their ancestral homes. It is a place of homecoming. As our journey comes to a close and we prepare to descend from this incredible city in the sky, we leave with a sense of profound respect. Acoma Pueblo is more than just a tourist destination. It's a sacred space and a powerful reminder that history is not just something we read in books. It is alive, it is present, and it is carried in the stories, the art, and the spirit of the people who have called this mesa home for a millennium. It teaches us about sustainability, resilience, and the enduring power of culture. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey to Sky City. I hope it has inspired you as much as it has inspired me. If you enjoyed this exploration, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more stories from the crossroads of history and culture. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, travel safely and stay curious. Welcome back to our journey through the history of the Acoma Pueblo. In this chapter, we delve into a time long before recorded history, exploring the deep origins of the people who call themselves Haku. This is the story of their ancestors, a story whispered through generations, not in books, but in the living heart of their traditions. Long, long ago, the vast, sun-drenched landscapes of the American Southwest were home to a remarkable civilization we now call the ancestral. You might know them by another name, the Anasazi, but that's a term many modern Pueblo people prefer not to use, as it comes from a Navajo word meaning ancient enemies. So we'll refer to them as the ancestral Pueblo. From around the year 1 to 1300, these resilient people thrived across the Four Corners, region where Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah meet. They were not a single, unified tribe, but a collection of distinct communities, interconnected by trade, ceremony, and a shared way of life. They were master architects, building incredible stone cities that still inspire Ayo today. Think of the cliff dwellings of Mesa Verde, tucked precariously into sheer rock faces, or the great houses of Chaco Canyon, with their hundreds of rooms and sophisticated astronomical alignments. These weren't just simple homes. They were vibrant centers of culture, spirituality, and community. The people were also skilled farmers, developing ingenious irrigation techniques to grow corn, beans, and squash in the arid desert soil. They created beautiful, intricate pottery, each piece telling a story with its unique designs, and they wove cotton into textiles that were both practical and artistic. Their society was deeply organized, with complex trade networks that stretched for hundreds of miles, connecting them to cultures as far away as Mexico and the Pacific coast. They left behind a rich legacy etched into the very landscape petroglyphs, carved into rock walls, remnants of ancient roads, and the silent, powerful ruins of their once bustling towns. These were the forebears of all modern Pueblo peoples, including the Acoma, and their story is the foundation upon which Acoma history is built. But for the Acoma people themselves, their origin story begins not on the surface of the earth, but deep within it. This is not a story for archaeologists to dig up, but a sacred narrative passed down through oral tradition. It is their truth, the core of their identity. They believe their ancestors began their journey in the underworld, a place called Shippa. This was the womb of Mother Earth, a world below this one. It was dark, but it was a place of formation, of becoming. Here, two sisters, Yatiku and Naut City, were given the responsibility by their father, Uch City, to lead the people into the world of light. They were given baskets containing the seeds of all living things and the knowledge they would need to survive in the new world. Following a path created by the spirits, they guided the people upward, emerging onto the surface of the earth through an opening, a sacred sea pod. Imagine that moment leaving the dark, familiar confines of the underworld and stepping into the blinding light of the sun for the first time. The world was new, vast, and perhaps a little frightening. This emergence story is central to Acoma belief. It establishes their profound connection to the earth itself, not just as a place to live, but as their literal mother, the source from which they came. This spiritual connection is the thread that weaves through every aspect of Acoma life. It's a three-way bond, a link between the land, the sky, and the home. The land, Mother Earth, is the provider of all life. The corn they grow isn't just food. It's a sacred gift, a physical manifestation of the earth's nurturing spirit. Every mountain, every mesa, every spring has a story and a spiritual significance. The sky, Father Sky, brings the sun for warmth and the rain for life. The stars and the celestial cycles are a calendar, a map, and a sacred text, guiding ceremonies and daily activities. And then there's the home, the village, the Pueblo. For the Acoma, their homes are not just shelters. They are living, breathing entities. The Sky City, Katsikima, is more than a place. It's the center of their universe, a physical anchor for their spiritual world. The very act of building with adobe and stone is a way of harmonizing with the earth, using her own materials to create a dwelling. This deep, interconnected worldview means that there is no separation between the physical and the spiritual. Farming is a prayer. Building a home is a sacred act. Watching the stars is a form of communion. This philosophy shaped their migration across the southwest after emerging from the underworld. Their journey was not a random wandering. It was a divinely guided quest. As the ancestors of the Acoma people moved across the landscape, they were searching for a specific place, the place designated for them by the spirits, a place they would call Haku. This was a long, arduous journey that spanned generations. They would settle in one location for a time, building villages, farming the land, and holding their ceremonies. They learned the rhythms of each new place, the patterns of the rain, the habits of the animals. They left their mark, and the land, in turn, left its mark on them. Along the way, they faced incredible challenges. Droughts that withered their crops, conflicts with other groups, and the simple, profound difficulty of surviving in a harsh and unforgiving environment. But their faith and their connection to their spiritual guides never wavered. Their oral traditions speak of these trials and the lessons learned from them. These stories are not just tales of the past. They are moral guides, teaching resilience, cooperation, and the importance of maintaining a proper relationship with the natural and spiritual worlds. Eventually, their migration led them to the magnificent, towering sandstone mesa that would become their permanent home. When they first saw it, rising narrowly, 400 feet from the valley floor, they knew. This was Italiano. This was the place they had been searching for. This was Katsikima, the Sky City. Its sheer cliffs offered natural defense. Its flat top provided space for their village, and its commanding presence placed them literally between Mother Earth and Father Sky. Here, they found their center place, the fulfillment of a prophecy that had guided them for centuries. The founding of the Acoma Pueblo on this formidable rock was not just an act of settlement. It was the culmination of a sacred journey, the final step in their origin story, and the beginning of a new chapter in their enduring history. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the Acoma people's deep past. The story of their origins is a powerful reminder of how landscape and spirituality can forge a people's identity. If you found this journey as fascinating as I do, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more. We'd love to have you with us as we continue to uncover these incredible histories. Thanks for watching. Welcome, Bike History Explorers. Today, we're journeying to a place that almost touches the sky, a city built on a fortress of stone. We're talking about the Acoma Mesa, the foundation of the legendary Sky City. This isn't just any piece of land, it's a geographical marvel that shaped a civilization. So, buckle up as we delve into Chapter 3. The Mesa and its meaning. Imagine a colossal sandstone butte, rising a sheer 367 feet from the desert floor. That's the Acoma Mesa. Its stark, vertical cliffs made it a natural fortress, a place of safety in a world that could often be unpredictable. For centuries, this geological wonder was the first and last line of defense for the Acoma people, but its significance goes far beyond mere protection. Think about what it means to live on a towering rock in the middle of a vast desert. It means isolation. This isolation wasn't a drawback. It was a blessing. It allowed the Acoma culture to flourish, to develop its traditions, language, and spiritual beliefs, without constant, outside interference. The Mesa created a world unto itself, a sanctuary where a unique way of life could be nurtured and preserved over generations. It was a cradle of civilization, suspended between earth and sky. But the Mesa wasn't just a physical sanctuary, it was a spiritual one. To live atop this massive rock was to be physically closer to the heavens, to the spirits and deities that governed their world. This wasn't just a practical decision, it was a deeply spiritual statement. Every sunrise and sunset, every storm that rolled across the plains below, was experienced from a vantage point that felt sacred. This proximity to the sky infused every aspect of Acoma life with a profound sense of spiritual elevation. This is why Acoma Pueblo is famously known as Sky City. The name isn't just a poetic description, it's a reflection of a core belief. It embodies the idea of living in harmony with the cosmos, of being perched at the intersection of the terrestrial and the divine. The Mesa provided not just a home, but a spiritual anchor, a constant reminder of their connection to something greater than themselves. It's a place where the physical landscape and the spiritual landscape become one and the same. Let's talk about the practicalities of this elevated existence. How did they get up and down? For centuries, the only access was through a hand-carved staircase, a winding, precarious path chiseled directly into the sandstone cliff face. Imagine carrying water, food, and all your supplies up that steep ascent every single day. It was a life of incredible effort, but this daily struggle forged a people of immense strength, resilience, and discipline. The staircase wasn't just a path, it was a testament to their determination to thrive in this extraordinary place. This strenuous daily climb also acted as a natural filter. Only those truly committed to the Acoma way of life would endure it. It reinforced the community's bonds and ensured that everyone who lived in Sky City was deeply invested in its survival and its traditions. It was a physical manifestation of the effort required to maintain their cultural purity and independence. The very act of coming home was a daily pilgrimage. The Mesa also provided everything they needed to build their world. The sandstone itself was used to construct their homes, the iconic adobe buildings that seemed to grow organically from the rock. The timber for the roofs and ladders had to be hauled from mountains dozens of miles away, an immense undertaking that required incredible community cooperation. Every structure in Sky City is a story of collective effort, a monument to the unity of the Acoma people. Living on the Mesa also meant a deep and intimate understanding of the environment. The Acoma became masters of collecting and conserving water, using natural cisterns in the rock. To capture precious rainfall, they cultivated gardens on the mesa top and farmed in the valley below, perfectly in sync with the desert's harsh rhythms. This wasn't just survival, it was a masterclass in sustainable living, a lesson passed down through countless generations, who called this rock their home. So, the Acoma Mesa is far more than just a stunning geological formation. It is the heart and soul of the Acoma people. It's a fortress that provided security, a sanctuary that preserved a culture, and a spiritual altar that connected them to the cosmos. It shaped their identity, their beliefs, and their incredible story of endurance. It is the silent, stone protagonist in their epic history. Sky City is a name earned through centuries of living in this awe-inspiring, elevated world. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Acoma Mesa. The story of this place is a powerful reminder of how our environment can shape who we are. If you found this journey as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the incredible stories of our world. We'll see you next time. Have you ever wondered what it was like to live in a city in the sky, long before modern technology? Let's travel back in time, centuries before European ships ever reached the Americas, to a place of breathtaking beauty and incredible resilience. Acoma Pueblo, perched atop a sheer-walled sandstone mesa, 367 feet high in what is now New Mexico. Acoma isn't just an ancient village. It's one of the oldest continuously inhabited communities in North America. This is the story of daily life on the mesa, a testament to human ingenuity and the deep connection between a people and their land. Imagine waking up to the vast, open expanse of the desert sky. The air is crisp and clear. From your home built of stone and adobe mud, you can see 4 miles in every direction. This mesa, known as Sky City, wasn't just a fortress. It was the heart of the Acoma world. Life here was a carefully choreographed dance with the elements, a rhythm dictated by the sun, the seasons, and the precious, infrequent rain. So, what did a typical day look like for the Acoma people hundreds of years ago? It started early, with the first light of dawn. The entire community would stir, each person knowing their role. The men would prepare for a long journey, while the mesa provided unparalleled safety. The fields for farming and the sources of water were down below, often miles away. They would descend the near-vertical trails and hand-cut staircases carved into the rock face, a feat of athleticism and courage that was simply part of their daily commute, their destination. The fields where the magic of survival unfolded. Farming in this arid, high-desert landscape was nothing short of an agricultural miracle. The Acoma were masters of a technique called dry farming. They didn't have rivers to divert or fancy irrigation systems. Instead, they relied on an intimate knowledge of the land. They learned to plant crops in locations that naturally collected runoff from the rare but powerful thunderstorms. They built small stone check dams and terraces along the slopes of arroyos and washes. These simple but ingenious structures slowed down the flow of rainwater, allowing it to soak deep into the soil instead of just rushing away. This wasn't just farming. It was a conversation with the environment, a partnership built on observation and respect. And what were they growing? They cultivated the sacred trinity of Native American agriculture, the 3 sisters: corn, beans, and squash. This wasn't just a random combination. It was a sophisticated, symbiotic system. The tall, sturdy corn stalks provided a natural trellis for the bean vines to climb. The beans, in turn, did something incredible for the soil. They are nitrogen fixers, meaning they pull nitrogen from the air and convert it into a nutrient that enriches the soil, helping the corn grow strong. And sprawling at the base of it all were the broadleaf squash plants. Their large leaves acted as a living mulch, shading the ground to keep it cool and moist, while their prickly vines discouraged pests. Together, the 3 sisters provided a nearly perfect, balanced diet of carbohydrates, proteins, and vitamins, all while sustaining the health of the very land that fed them. Corn was the backbone of their diet, ground into flour for bread baked in outdoor ovens called hornos, or used in stews and other dishes. While the men were often in the fields or out on hunting parties, the women were the heart of the Pueblo itself. Acoma society was, and still is, matrilineal. This means that family lineage, property, and clan identity were all passed down through the mother's side. The homes on the mesa belonged to the women. When a man married, he moved into his wife's family home. This structure gave women a central and powerful role in the community. They were the keepers of the home, the managers of the food supply, and the primary caretakers of the children. They were also the creators of Acoma's world-renowned pottery. Imagine the scene on the mesa top. Women sitting together, chatting and working. They would gather clay from sacred sources, mix it with a temper made from ground-up pottery shards from their ancestors, literally infusing their new creations with the spirit of the past. Using the traditional coil and scrape method, they would build the pots by hand, without a potter's wheel. Each pot was then polished to a smooth finish and painted with intricate geometric designs using a yucca leaf brush and natural pigments. These designs weren't just decorative. They were prayers, stories, and symbols of rain, clouds, and life. The pots were then fired in the open, a risky and delicate process that turned the clay into a durable, beautiful vessel essential for carrying water, storing grain, and cooking. Life was deeply communal. The concept of private property as we know it didn't really exist. Land was used by the clan that needed it, and the fruits of the harvest and the hunt were shared among everyone. Kinship was everything. Your identity was tied to your family and your clan. Aunts and uncles were like second parents, and cousins were as close as siblings. This web of relationships created a powerful social safety net. No one was left to face hardship alone. When a new house needed to be built, the whole community would come together to help. When a family celebrated a birth or mourned a loss, the entire village shared in their joy or sorrow. Spirituality was woven into every single aspect of daily life. It wasn't something you practiced for an hour on a certain day. It was the air you breathed. The sun, the moon, the rain, the animals, the cornel were seen as living, spiritual beings. The ceremonial kivas, subterranean chambers that symbolize the womb of the earth, were the centers of religious life. Here, spiritual leaders would conduct ceremonies, pray for rain and a good harvest, and pass down the ancient oral histories and traditions that defined what it meant to be Acoma. Every act, from planting a seed to painting a pot, was imbued with spiritual significance, a prayer for balance and harmony, or hazo, in the world. This was a life of hard work, no doubt. Carrying water up the steep mesa cliffs was an arduous daily task. Drought was a constant threat, and survival was never guaranteed. But it was also a life of immense richness, purpose, and connection. It was a life lived in harmony with the cycles of nature and in deep communion with family and community. This was the world of Acoma, before the arrival of the Spanish, a resilient and deeply spiritual society, thriving in a city in the sky. It's a legacy of strength that continues to inspire and endure to this very day. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments what other ancient cultures you'd like to explore. Until next time, stay curious. Welcome back to our journey through history, where today we venture into the heart of the American Southwest to witness an architectural marvel. This is Chapter 5, Architecture of the Sky. Imagine, for a moment, a city carved not from the ground up, but from the very face of a towering mesa. Here, multi-storied dwellings, crafted from adobe and sandstone, seem to grow organically from the ancient rock. These are not ruins of a long-lost civilization. They are living, breathing testaments to human ingenuity and a profound connection to the land. As you gaze upon these structures, you're looking at a skyline shaped by hands and hearts centuries ago, a city suspended between earth and sky. What's truly astonishing is how these homes were conceived and constructed in an era without modern machinery, without even the convenience of running water or electricity. The ancestral Pueblos created these masterpieces. Each stone was hand-hewn and carefully placed. Each mixture of adobe was prepared with an intimate knowledge of the local soil and climate. Think about the sheer effort and precision required. They had to consider the angle of the sun for warmth in the winter and shade in the summer. They had to design for defense, for community, and for a spiritual life deeply intertwined with the landscape. These weren't just simple shelters. They were sophisticated, multifamily complexes, some rising 4 or 5 stories high. They featured kivas, subterranean chambers used for spiritual ceremonies, and open plazas that served as the heart of the community. The walls, plastered with smooth adobe, would have glowed a warm ochre in the desert sun. The small windows and doorways, framed with wood, were perfectly positioned to catch the breeze and frame the breathtaking vista. It's a form of architecture that is both incredibly practical and profoundly beautiful. A harmonious blend of human need and natural form. The ingenuity on display here rivals that of any of the great architectural traditions of the world. Walking through these spaces today, you can still feel the echoes of the past. You can almost hear the sounds of daily life, the grinding of corn, the laughter of children, the murmur of stories being shared. It's a powerful reminder that these were vibrant, bustling communities. The people who lived here were astronomers, farmers, artisans, and visionaries. They built a society that thrived in one of the most challenging environments on Earth, not by conquering nature, but by listening to it and working with it. This wasn't about imposing a structure on the landscape. It was about becoming part of the landscape itself. And the story doesn't end in the past. Perhaps the most incredible part of this narrative is its continuity. These ancient homes are not just relics preserved for tourists. To this day, the descendants of the original builders return. They come to reconnect with their heritage, to honor their ancestors, and to conduct sacred ceremonies that have been passed down through countless generations. During these times, the stone and adobe walls once again sheltered the spiritual life of the people. The kivas, which have been silent for much of the year, are once again filled with chants and prayers. Imagine the sight. Firelight flickering against the ancient walls, the scent of burning juniper in the air, the rhythmic sound of drums echoing through the canyon. It's in these moments that the architecture truly comes alive. It ceases to be a historical site and becomes, once again, a Homa sacred space, pulsating with the energy of the present. The homes are not just used, they are revered. They are a physical link to a cultural and spiritual identity that has endured for over 1,000 years. This living tradition transforms our understanding of these structures. They are not monuments to a lost world, but bridges to a living one. This enduring connection speaks volumes about the power of place and the resilience of culture. The architecture of the sky wasn't just built to last physically. It was built to last spiritually. It was designed to be a permanent anchor for a people's identity, a place they could always return to, no matter where their journeys took them. And as we stand here, witnessing this unbroken chain of tradition, we are reminded that some things' ingenuity, beauty, and faith are truly timeless. The legacy of the ancestral Pueblos is not just written in stone, it is carried forward in the hearts of their descendants. Thank you for joining me on this incredible exploration of the architecture of the sky. It's a powerful lesson in how we can build not just for ourselves, but for the generations that will follow. If you found this journey as inspiring as I did, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until then, keep exploring and stay curious. Imagine this. You've lived your entire life, and your ancestors before you for centuries, in a stunning city carved from a massive sandstone mesa, a fortress in the sky. Your world is the vast, arid landscape of what we now call New Mexico. The rhythms of your life are dictated by the sun, the seasons, and the sacred traditions of your people. The Acoma. Then, one day in 1540, something appears on the horizon that shatters this reality. Beings, unlike any you've ever seen, clad in shining metal, riding strange, powerful animals, and carrying weapons that harnessed thunder and lightning. This wasn't just a meeting, it was a collision of two entirely separate worlds. Welcome back to our journey through the history of Acoma Pueblo. Today, we're diving into one of the most pivotal moments in its long story. The arrival of the Spanish. We're talking about the famous, or perhaps infamous, Coronado expedition of 1540. So, who was this Francisco Vázquez de Coronado? He was a Spanish conquistador, driven by the same potent mix of ambition that fueled so many explorers of his time. God, glory, and gold. Primarily gold. Rumors were swirling throughout New Spain, which is modern-day Mexico, about the 7 cities of Cibala cities, supposedly paved with gold and studded with jewels, located somewhere to the north. These tales were largely based on misunderstandings and embellished stories, but they were enough to launch one of the largest expeditions ever to venture into the North American interior. Coronado assembled a massive force. We're talking about over 300 Spanish soldiers, horsemen, and priests, along with 1,000 or more Mexican Indian allies, and herds of livestock. This wasn't a small scouting party. It was a mobile town, a military and colonial enterprise on the move, cutting a path through an unknown land. After months of grueling travel, facing starvation, dehydration, and the sheer unforgiving nature of the desert, they reached Zuni Pueblos, which they believed to be the fabled city. What they found were not cities of gold, but modest, well-organized communities. The disappointment among the Spanish was immense and palpable. It also led to immediate, brutal conflict. With his primary goal of finding immense wealth seemingly a bust, Coronado needed to regroup and explore the surrounding region. He began sending out smaller detachments to investigate other reported settlements. One of these parties, led by a captain named Hernando de Alvarado, was tasked with exploring to the east, and it was this group that would make the first recorded European contact with the people of Acoma. As Alvarado and his men journeyed, they came across a sight that must have astonished them. Rising dramatically from the valley floor was a 367-foot sandstone butte, and on top of it, an incredible pueblo, a city in the sky. This was Acoma. The Spanish described it as one of the strongest defensive positions they had ever seen in their lives. The only way up was via a series of hand-carved steps, so treacherous that in some places you had to climb using handholds pegged into the sheer rock face. The Acoma people, watching from their high perch, would have seen these strangers approaching. Think about the confusion and apprehension. Who were these men? Their skin was pale. They had hair on their faces, and they rode on enormous deer-like creatures' horses, which the Pueblo people had never seen before. Their clothes were made of metal that glinted in the sun, and they carried long sticks that made a deafening noise. Everything about them was alien. Initially, the encounter was tense. The Acoma warriors, renowned for their bravery, prepared to defend their home. They drew a line on the ground with sacred cornmeal, a clear signal to the Spanish not to cross. It was a moment hanging on a knife's edge. A single misunderstanding, a single aggressive move, could have ignited a bloody battle right then and there. However, Alvarado, perhaps learning from the disastrous encounter at Zuni, chose diplomacy over force. Through translators, a complex chain of communication, from Spanish to a language the guides knew, and then to the Corizon language of Acoma, he managed to convey peaceful intentions. The Acoma eldars, after deliberation, decided to allow the Spanish to approach. They offered the visitors food, water, and turkey, traditional gestures of hospitality. For a brief moment, there was a fragile peace. The Spanish marveled at the Pueblo's impregnable location and the ingenuity of its people. The Acoma observed these strange newcomers, trying to understand their purpose and their power. But this initial peace was built on a foundation of profound misunderstanding. The Spanish worldview was one of conquest and conversion. When they arrived, they performed a ceremony called the requerimiento. This was a formal declaration, read aloud in Spanish, which the Acoma people could not understand. It essentially stated that the Pope had granted these lands to the King of Spain, and that the native people must submit to Spanish rule and accept Christianity. If they refused, the document declared, the Spanish were justified in waging a just war against them, enslaving them, and seizing their property. So, while the Acoma people believed they were engaging in a diplomatic exchange with a new, powerful group, the Spanish believed the Acoma had just legally submitted to the Spanish crown. From the Spanish perspective, any future resistance would be seen not as self-defense, but as a rebellion against their rightful rulers. This cultural and legal chasm was immense. The Acoma valued community, tradition, and a spiritual connection to the land. The Spanish valued hierarchy, legal documents they brought with them, and the expansion of their empire. Coronado himself later visited Acoma, and again, the interaction was outwardly peaceful. The Spanish were impressed, but they were also still searching for wealth that didn't exist here. Their primary focus soon shifted further east, chasing new rumors of a golden kingdom called Quivira, in what is now Kansas. The expedition would eventually end in failure and disappointment for Coronado, and he would limp back to Mexico, his reputation tarnished. For Acoma, however, this was just the beginning. The brief encounter in 1540 was a chilling foreshadowing of what was to come. The Spanish had put Acoma on their maps. They now knew of this sky city and its people. While they left for now, the seed of future conflict had been planted. The Acoma people had been introduced to a foreign power with incomprehensible demands and overwhelming military technology. The world of the Acoma people, which had been stable for centuries, was now irrevocably altered. They had met the Spanish, and knew, with a deep sense of foreboding, that they would be back. The fragile peace of 1540 was merely the quiet before a devastating storm. Thank you so much for joining me for this chapter of Acoma's incredible story. The events that follow this first contact are dramatic and tragic, and we'll explore them in our next video. If you're finding this history as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. See you in the next one. Welcome back to our journey through the history of the American Southwest. Today, we turn to a chapter that is both heartbreaking and a powerful testament to human resilience. We're going to talk about the Acoma Massacre of 1599, a pivotal and tragic moment in the history of the Pueblo people. Imagine a city in the sky, perched atop a sheer, 367-foot sandstone mesa in what is now New Mexico. Acoma Pueblo has stood for centuries. Its strategic location made it a natural fortress, a sanctuary seemingly beyond the reach of its enemies. The Acoma people had thrived there for generations, creating a rich culture deeply connected to the land. But in the final years of the 16th century, this ancient stronghold would face its greatest trial, a brutal confrontation with the ambitions of the Spanish Empire. Our story begins with a man named Juan de Ocate, a wealthy and ambitious conquistador. Ocate was granted a contract by the Spanish crown in 1595 to colonize the lands of the upper Rio Grande, Nueva Mexico. His mission was threefold: to find riches, to convert the native populations to Christianity, and to establish a permanent Spanish colony. Driven by tales of golden cities that had lured explorers before him, Ocate led an expedition of soldiers, settlers, and Franciscan friars north from Mexico in 1598. Upon their arrival, Ocate's forces began demanding supplies and allegiance from the various Pueblo communities they encountered. The Pueblos, who had their own complex societies and had lived on these lands for thousands of years, were suddenly confronted with a foreign power that demanded their food, their labor, and their faith. Tensions were high from the very beginning. The Spanish demands for tribute, especially corn and blankets, placed a heavy burden on the Pueblos, who had to sustain their own communities through the harsh desert winters. In late 1598, Ocate dispatched his nephew and second-in-command, Juan de Ocate, to lead a party of soldiers on a mission to collect provisions from the Pueblos to the west. Their journey eventually brought them to the base of the mighty Acoma Mesa. When Zaldivar and his men climbed to the top, they demanded a large quantity of corn from the Acoma people. The Acoma, however, were reluctant. Giving away their precious winter stores would mean starvation for their own families. Accounts of what happened next differ, but the encounter quickly turned violent. The Acoma people resisted the soldiers' demands. A fight broke out, and in the ensuing chaos, Zaldivar and 12 of his men were killed. The surviving Spanish soldiers managed to escape and raced back to report the news to Ocate. For Juan de Ocate, this was more than just a tragic loss. It was an act of open rebellion that threatened his entire colonial enterprise. He believed that if Acoma's defiance went unpunished, other Pueblos might be emboldened to resist Spanish rule as well. He was determined to make an example of Acoma, to crush their spirit so thoroughly that no other Pueblo would dare challenge his authority. An official inquiry was held, which, not surprisingly, declared the Acoma people guilty of treason and sentenced them to be punished by fire and blood on Nate. Chose Juan de Zaldivar's brother, Vicente de Zaldivar, to lead the retaliatory expedition. In January of 1599, Vicente arrived at the base of the Acoma Mesa with about 70 heavily armed soldiers. The Acoma people, numbering in the thousands, prepared to defend their home. Confident in the strength of their fortress in the sky, they hurled rocks and insults down at the Spanish soldiers below, believing their position was unassailable. But the Spanish had a plan. Under the cover of darkness, Vicente de Zaldivar sent a small, elite group of soldiers to a more secluded part of the mesa. Using a portable bridge, they managed to secretly cross a chasm and gain a foothold on the mesa top. When the main Spanish force launched a frontal assault the next morning, the Acoma defenders were caught completely by surprise as the hidden soldiers attacked them from the rear. What followed was a brutal, 3-day battle. The Spanish soldiers, armed with steel swords, armor, and devastatingly effective cannons known as arc, systematically advanced across the Pueblo. The Acoma warriors fought back with incredible courage, using bows, arrows, stones, and clubs. But the traditional weapons were no match for Spanish military technology. The cannon fire tore through the adobe walls of their homes, setting the city ablaze. The fighting was merciless and personal. The battle raged from house to house, from rooftop to rooftop. The Spanish were relentless, driven by a thirst for revenge. By the third day, the Acoma resistance was broken. The city of Acoma, once a proud and vibrant community, was reduced to a smoldering ruin. The loss of life was catastrophic. It's estimated that between 800 and 1,000 Acoma men, women, and children were killed during the assault. The horror, however, did not end with the battle. Ocate was determined to inflict the punishment that would be remembered for generations. The approximately 500 Acoma who survived the massacre were rounded up and taken to a nearby pueblo for judgment. Their fate was horrific. Every man over the age of 25 had 1 foot severed as a public symbol of their punishment. Younger men and women between the ages of 12 and 25 were sentenced to 20 years of servitude, essentially becoming enslaved laborers for the Spanish colonists. The children under 12 were taken from their families and sent to be raised in missions in Mexico, their cultural identity to be erased. The Acoma Massacre of 1599 stands as one of the darkest and most brutal episodes in the history of the colonization of the Americas. It was an act of extreme violence designed to terrorize and subjugate an entire people. Juan de Ocate's cruelty was so severe that even the Spanish crown eventually took notice. He was later recalled to Mexico City and put on trial for his excessive use of force, not just at Acoma, but against other native groups and his own colonists as well. He was convicted and banished from New Mexico forever. But the story of Acoma is not just a story of tragedy. It is also one of incredible survival and endurance. Despite the immense suffering, the destruction of their city, and the enslavement of their people, the spirit of Acoma was not extinguished. The survivors, many of them maimed and traumatized, held on to their culture, their language, and their traditions. Over time, some of those who had been enslaved managed to escape and return to their ancestral home. Slowly, painstakingly, they began to rebuild. They reconstructed their homes on the ashes of the old city. They replanted their fields. They reestablished their ceremonies and retold their stories. The mesa that had been the site of their greatest tragedy once again became their sanctuary in the heart of their world. Today, Acoma Pueblo, also known as Sky City, is still there. It is one of the oldest continuously inhabited communities in North America. The descendants of the survivors of the 1599 massacre still live on that mesa, a living testament to their ancestors' resilience. They have preserved their traditions while adapting to a changing world. Their story a powerful reminder that even in the face of unimaginable devastation, a people's culture and will to survive can endure. Visiting Acoma today is a profound experience, a chance to witness a community that has literally risen from the ashes and continues to thrive, their history etched into the very stones of their sky-high home. Thank you for joining us for this difficult but important story. If you found this video insightful, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more deep dives into history. We'll see you next time. Imagine a city in the sky, a place of stone and spirit perched atop a massive sandstone mesa. This is Acoma Pueblo, a testament to endurance. For centuries, its people lived in harmony with a vast desert landscape, but history dealt this ancient community a devastating blow, a trial by fire that threatened to erase their very existence. Yet, from the ashes of conflict and conquest, an incredible story of resilience unfolds. This is the story of how the Acoma people rebuilt their world, not just with stone and mortars, but with the unbreakable spirit of their ancestors. This is Chapter 8. Rebuilding in the sky. The task of rebuilding was monumental. The homes, once filled with generations of families, lay in ruins. The kivas, the spiritual heart of the community, had been the very social fabric that held the Acoma people together was torn. Where does one even begin when faced with such utter devastation? For the Acoma, the answer was simple. They began together. They returned to the mesa, their sacred homeland, with a quiet determination that defied their suffering. The first step was to reclaim their space, to clear the debris, not just from their streets, but from their hearts. The rebuilding of homes was more than just construction. It was an act of cultural reclamation. Each stone laid was a reaffirmation of their identity. Women, the traditional builders and owners of the homes in Acoma society, led the way. They mixed the adobe mud with their hands, shaping the bricks that would form the new walls. This wasn't merely manual labor, it was a deeply spiritual process. They were rebuilding the physical shelters that would protect their families, but they were also rebuilding the matrilineal foundation of their society, one home at a time. The men quarried the stone and timber, working in unison. Their shared effort a silent promise to one another: we will endure. As the physical structures rose, so too did the community's spirit. The rebuilding process was a communal effort. Families helped neighbors, and the entire Pueblo worked as one. This shared struggle forged even stronger bonds between them. They were not just rebuilding houses, they were reconstructing their social world. Ancient traditions of cooperation, known as comanera, or communal work, were rekindled. This wasn't a system imposed by an outside force. It was an organic expression of their core values of belief that the well-being of the community is paramount. Through this collective effort, they re-established the intricate network of clans and kinship that had defined them for 1,000 years. But how do you preserve an identity when so much has been lost? The Acoma people understood that their culture was not just in the buildings, but in the stories, the songs, the ceremonies, and the art. The elders, the keepers of memory, became the most important architects of this new era. They gathered the children and passed down the oral histories, the epic tales of their origin and the sacred knowledge of their ancestors. They taught the ancient prayers and the rhythms of the ceremonial dances. They ensured that the Acoma language, the vessel of their unique worldview, would continue to be spoken on the mesa. Pottery, the craft for which the Acoma are world-renowned, became a powerful symbol of this cultural rebirth. After the devastation, the potters returned to their clay, with hands that knew the memory of the earth. They began to shape the vessels again. On the smooth white surfaces, they painted the intricate geometric patterns and sacred designs that had been passed down for generations. Each pot was a story, a prayer, a piece of their history made tangible. The fine lines, the images of rain, clouds, and parrots were more than decoration. They were a declaration that Acoma culture was alive, vibrant, and would not be silenced. Creating this art was an act of defiance and a source of economic survival, allowing them to trade and rebuild their lives. Rebuilding the sacred spaces was a task of immense spiritual significance. The kivas, the subterranean chambers where ceremonies connect the people to the cosmos, had to be This was a delicate and private process, a mending of the spiritual heart of the Pueblo. It involved cleansing rituals and prayers to restore the balance that had been so violently disrupted. It was a way of telling the spirits and the land that the Acoma people were home, that their covenant with this sacred place was renewed. The quiet strength of these ceremonies echoed the resilience of the people themselves, unseen by the outside world, but forming the unshakable foundation of their survival. Beyond their own Pueblo, the Acoma had to navigate a new world, a world now dominated by foreign powers. They learned to be diplomatic, to negotiate, to selectively adopt new tools and ideas while fiercely protecting their core identity. This was a careful balancing act. They adopted Spanish-style architecture in the San Esteban del Rey mission church, which they were forced to build. Yet they infused it with their own cosmology, embedding their own symbols and meaning within its massive walls. The church itself stands as a complex symbol of their history, a monument to both oppression and the incredible ability of the Acoma people to absorb and redefine foreign influences on their own terms. Centuries have passed since that dark chapter in Acoma history. Today, Sky City still stands, the oldest continuously inhabited community in North America. Life continues. Children play in the same plazas their ancestors rebuilt. The kilns still fire, the beautiful pottery that tells the story of their people. The ceremonial calendar is still observed, connecting the present generation to all those who came before. The quiet strength that fueled their recovery is not a relic of the past. It is a living force. It is in the wind that sweeps across the mesa, in the stories told by the elders, and in the enduring spirit of the Acoma people. Their story teaches us a profound lesson about survival. It's not always about loud defiance or grand battles. Sometimes, the most powerful form of resilience is the quiet, daily act of living one's culture. It's about replastering a wall, shaping a pot, teaching a child a word in their native tongue, and showing up for your community, day after day, generation after generation. The Acoma people did not just rebuild a village of stone. They rebuilt a world of meaning, ensuring that their sky city would remain a beacon of cultural endurance for centuries to come. Their legacy is a powerful reminder that even after the most devastating storms, a community rooted in tradition and unity can rebuild, reaching for the sky once more. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey into the history of the Acoma people. If their story of resilience moved you, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into the histories that have shaped our world. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious. Welcome, bike history lovers, to our ongoing journey through the incredible stories etched in stone and time. Today, in Chapter 9, we ascend to the sky city of Acoma Pueblo to explore one of the most awe-inspiring structures in North America, the Mission San Esteban del Rey. You thought the journey up here was breathtaking. Wait until you hear the story of this fortress of faith. Imagine this. It's 1629. You're standing on top of this 367-foot-high mesa, with the vast New Mexico landscape stretching out in every direction. The Spanish Franciscans, led by Fray Juan Ramirez, a vision to build a church here, a symbol of their faith that would dominate the skyline. But how do you build a massive church on a sheer-sided rock? The answer is one of the most incredible feats of human labor and determination you'll ever encounter. There was no timber on the mesa, no large deposits of stone. Everything had to be brought up from the valley floor below. Think about the sheer scale of this project. The massive timbers you see, forming the roof, known as vigas, are 40 feet long and weigh hundreds of pounds each. According to Acoma tradition, these logs were carried by hand from the San Mateo Mountains, over 30 miles away. They say the logs were never allowed to touch the ground during their entire journey, a sacred procession of immense physical toil. It's a detail that speaks volumes about the reverence and effort poured into this place. And it wasn't just the wood. The stone and adobe mud, thousands upon thousands of tons of it, were also hauled up the steep, narrow paths to the mesa top, bucket by bucket, load by load, on the backs of the Acoma people. For over a decade, from 1629 to 1641, this monumental effort continued. The walls of the church are nearly 10 feet thick in some places, creating a cool, cavernous space that offers a stark contrast to the bright desert sun outside. It was built not just as a place of worship, but as a fortress, a statement of permanence and power. Step inside with me. The first thing that strikes you is the sheer scale of the interior. The nave is 150 feet long, with a soaring 50-foot ceiling. It feels ancient, sacred, and filled with the echoes of centuries. Look closely at the art and the architecture. This is where the story gets even more fascinating. The Mission San Esteban del Rey is a perfect example of syncretism, the blending of different beliefs and cultures. You have the clear structure of a Catholic church, with its altar, nave, and sanctuary. But the decorative elements tell a different story. The paintings on the walls, the designs on the reredos behind the altar, they incorporate symbols and motifs that are deeply rooted in Acoma cosmology. You'll see representations of the sun, moon, stars, and rain clouds, elements vital to the agricultural and spiritual life of the Pueblo people. This wasn't just a Spanish church imposed upon a native community. It became a space where two vastly different worldviews intersected, sometimes clashing, but often merging in beautiful and unexpected ways. The very plaster on the walls is a mix of adobe, mud, and gypsum, a traditional Pueblo building material. The floor was originally packed earth, connecting the congregation directly to the Mother Earth so central to their beliefs. Even the cemetery out front, the Camposanto, is filled with earth that was carried up from the valley floor, creating a sacred burial ground on the rocky mesa. This act of bringing the earth up to the Sky City is profoundly symbolic. What makes San Esteban del Rey so unique is its survival. It is one of the few Spanish mission churches in New Mexico that was undestroyed during the Pueblo Revolt of 1680. While missions across the region were burned, the Acoma people spared their church. Why? The answer is complex and debated by historians. Perhaps it was because the church had become so intertwined with their own lives, built with the sweat of their ancestors and integrated with their own sacred symbols. It had, in a sense, become an Acoma structure as much as it was a Spanish one. This place isn't a ruin or a museum piece. It's a living, breathing part of the Acoma community. It has been continuously maintained for nearly 400 years. A testament to the resilience and dedication of the people who call this mesa home. Standing, you can feel the weight of that history. You can sense the generations of prayers, ceremonies, joys, and sorrows that have unfolded within these thick adobe walls. It's a powerful reminder that history isn't just something we read about in books. It's a living force that continues to shape the present. The Mission San Esteban del Rey isn't just a building. It's a story of faith, labor, survival, and the beautiful, complex fusion of cultures. Thank you for joining me on this incredible visit to the Sky City. The stories held within these ancient walls are truly profound. If you found this journey as moving as I did, please give this video a thumbs up. And do you not forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next chapter. We have so many more amazing places to explore together. See you next time. Welcome back to our journey through the history of the Acoma Pueblo. In our last chapter, we witnessed the immense pressures building under Spanish rule. Today, we arrive at a pivotal moment, a turning point not just for Acoma, but for all Pueblo peoples, the Great Pueblo Revolt of 1680. Imagine the scene. For nearly a century, Spanish colonization had systematically tried to dismantle the Pueblo way of life. Their religion was suppressed, their labor was exploited, and their traditions were pushed to the brink of extinction. But beneath the surface of compliance, a current of resistance was flowing, connecting villages from Taos in the north to the Hopi mesas in the west. The year is 1680, and the quiet whispers of rebellion are about to erupt into a roar. The catalyst for this unified uprising was a charismatic Tewa religious leader from Oke-Oinge, after being arrested and publicly humiliated by the Spanish for practicing his traditional religion. Pope began to orchestrate one of the most successful indigenous rebellions in North American history. He sent out runners to over 24 pueblos, carrying knotted cords. Each knot represented a day until the coordinated attack. The plan was ingenious and daring, uniting diverse and geographically separate communities under a single cause, to drive the Spanish out and reclaim their ancestral lands and freedom. Acoma, perched high on its seemingly impenetrable mesa, played a crucial role in this grand strategy. The Acoma people were no strangers to resisting Spanish domination. Their memory of the brutal siege of 1599 was still very much alive, passed down through generations. When the knotted cord arrived at the Sky City, the Acoma warriors were ready. They answered the call to arms with fierce determination. On the designated day in August 1680, the revolt exploded across the territory of New Mexico. At Acoma, the resident Spanish friar, Fray Lucas Maldonado, was killed, and the mission church, a powerful symbol of colonial oppression, was destroyed. This was not just an act of violence, it was a profound act of reclamation. By tearing down the church, the Acoma people were symbolically and literally dismantling the structure of Spanish religious and cultural imposition. They were clearing the ground to rebuild their own sacred world. All across the Pueblo world, similar scenes unfolded. The united forces besieged the capital of Santa Fe, eventually forcing the Spanish governor and the remaining colonists into a desperate retreat south, all the way to El Paso del Norte, which is modern-day Ciudad Juárez. For the first time in 82 years, the land of the Pueblos was free from Spanish rule. Acoma, along with its allies, had achieved the impossible. This period, from 1680 to 1692, represents a remarkable, albeit brief, era of restored independence. With the Spanish gone, the Pueblo people immediately set about reviving their traditional ways of life. At Acoma, the kivasta, sacred ceremonial chambers that the Spanish had tried to destroy were rebuilt and ancient ceremonies and dances, which had been practiced in secret, were now performed openly under the vast desert sky. This was a time of cultural and spiritual renaissance. The people worked to erase the physical and psychological scars of colonization. They re-established trade networks with other pueblos and neighboring tribes, strengthening the bonds that had made the revolt possible in the first place. For 12 years, Acoma was once again the master of its own destiny, a sovereign nation living according to its own laws and beliefs, guided by the wisdom of its ancestors. It was a golden age of freedom, a testament to the resilience and unbreakable spirit of the Pueblo people. They had demonstrated that through unity and a shared commitment to their cultural identity, they could overcome even the most powerful of empires. The people of Acoma could look out from their sky city and see a world that was once again their own. However, this hard-won freedom was not destined to last forever. The Spanish, humiliated and determined to reconquer the valuable territory, were already planning their return from their exile in the south. The threat on the horizon was growing, and the Pueblos knew that another struggle was inevitable. The question was not if the Spanish would return, but when, and what would happen when they did. The story of the Pueblo revolt is a powerful reminder of the enduring human desire for freedom and self-determination. For Acoma, it was a defining chapter, a moment when they rose up with their brothers and sisters across the region to reclaim their world. The 12 years of independence they secured left an indelible mark on their identity, reinforcing the strength and importance of their cultural traditions. Join us next time as we explore the dramatic events of the Spanish reconquest and how Acoma faced this new wave of colonial aggression. The fight for their home and their way of life was far from over. Thank you so much for watching and for being a part of this historical exploration. If you found this chapter meaningful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next part of our series on the incredible history of Acoma Pueblo. We'll see you in the next video. Welcome back to our journey through the history of the Acoma Pueblo. In this chapter, Generations of Adaptation, we re-diving deep into the 18th and 19th centuries, a period of immense change and remarkable resilience for the Sky City people. How did a community so deeply rooted in ancient tradition navigate the swirling currents of new economies, new neighbors, and new ideas? Let's find out. Following the Pueblo revolt, the 18th century dawned with a new, albeit fragile, reality. The Spanish had returned, but their approach was different. The era of forceful conversion was largely over, replaced by a more complex relationship of coexistence. For the Acoma, this meant finding a delicate balance. They outwardly participated in the Catholic faith introduced by the Spanish, but inwardly, they held fast to their Katsina religion and the intricate web of ceremonies that had defined their existence for centuries. It was a dual life, a strategy of survival that allowed their core cultural identity to endure beneath a veneer of compliance. Life on the mesa continued, governed by the timeless rhythms of agriculture. The Acoma were, and are, masterful farmers, coaxing life from the arid landscape. Corn, beans, and squash remained the cornerstones of their diet and their cosmology, but the world around them was shrinking. The introduction of Spanish livestock, particularly sheep and horses, began to reshape their economy. Sheep provided a new source of wool, leading to a flourishing weaving tradition. Horses, once a symbol of Spanish power, became tools for hunting, travel, and trade, expanding the Acoma's reach and influence. This brings us to the crucial role of trade. The Acoma were not isolated on their high mesa. They were key players in a vast network that connected them with other Pueblo peoples, the Navajo, the Apache, and Spanish settlements. They traded their renowned pottery, intricately woven textiles, and agricultural surplus for goods they couldn't produce themselves. This wasn't just about economics. It was a cultural exchange. Ideas, stories, and even languages flowed along these trade routes, enriching and challenging Acoma society in equal measure. They were adapting, incorporating new elements while carefully curating what it meant to be Acoma. As we move into the 19th century, the pace of change accelerated dramatically. First, Mexican independence in 1821 shifted the political landscape, replacing Spanish rule with a more distant and often less effective Mexican administration. This period saw increased raiding from nomadic tribes, like the Navajo and Apache, forcing the Acoma to become even more strategic in their defense and diplomacy. The mesa atop provided a natural fortress, but survival also depended on forging alliances and navigating complex, intertribal politics. Then came the Americans. The opening of the Santa Fe Trail in the 1820s brought a flood of new people, goods, and a fundamentally different worldview. American traders, trappers, and eventually settlers represented a market-driven, individualistic society that stood in stark contrast to the communal, tradition-based life of the Pueblo. The trickle of contact became a river when the United States claimed the territory after the Mexican-American War in 1848. The arrival of the railroad in the 1880s was perhaps the single most transformative event of this era. The Iron Horse thundered past the base of their sacred mesa, physically and symbolically connecting the Acoma to the rest of the United States. This brought both opportunities and profound challenges. It created a cash economy. For the first time, many Acoma people began working for wages, often on the railroad itself or in surrounding American towns. This introduced a new economic reality that sometimes conflicted with the traditional agricultural calendar and communal obligations. The railroad also created a new market for Acoma art, especially their pottery. Tourists, fascinated by the exotic cultures of the Southwest, began visiting Acoma and buying their crafts. This provided a vital source of income, but also introduced the pressure to create for an outside market. Acoma potters responded with incredible creativity, developing new styles and forms while holding on to the symbolic and spiritual significance of their work. They were not just making souvenirs. They were telling their story, one pot at a time, adapting their ancient art form for a new audience and a new purpose. Throughout these 2 centuries, the Acoma demonstrated an extraordinary ability to adapt without assimilating. They selectively adopted new tools, like metal plows and firearms, and engaged with new economies, all while fiercely protecting their core cultural and spiritual life. The kivas remained the heart of the village. The clan system continued to structure their society, and the oral traditions passed down through generations remained the bedrock of their identity. The story of the Acoma, in the 18th and 19th centuries, is not one of a static culture being overwhelmed by outside forces. It is a dynamic story of resilience, strategic adaptation, and cultural endurance. They navigated the shifting empires of Spain, Mexico, and the United States, incorporating what was useful, resisting what was harmful, and always holding on to the sacred center of their world. High atop the Sky City, their survival is a testament to their strength, their wisdom, and their unwavering connection to the land and the traditions of their ancestors. Thank you so much for joining us for this chapter. The story of the Acoma is a powerful reminder of how communities can face profound change with grace and strength. If you found this history as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next chapter. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious. Welcome back to our series, Art of the Americas. Today, we're journeying to the high desert of New Mexico, to a place known as Sky City. We're here to explore the breathtaking art of Acoma Pueblo pottery, a tradition that has been passed down through generations, unbroken for centuries. This isn't just about making pots. It's about continuing a legacy, a story told in clay. The Acoma Pueblo sits atop a 367-foot sandstone mesa, a location that has protected its people and traditions for over 1,000 years. This isolation has been key to preserving one of the most distinctive pottery styles in the world. When you see a piece of Acoma pottery, the first thing you'll notice is its incredible lightness and the thinness of its walls. It feels almost impossibly delicate, yet it's surprisingly strong. The clay itself is a unique gray-white, sourced from the sacred earth around the Pueblo. This clay is carefully prepared, cleaned of impurities, and mixed with a temper made from ground-up shards of old, broken pottery. Think about that for a moment. The new pots literally carry pieces of the past within them. It's a beautiful, tangible connection to the ancestors. The process is a labor of love, entirely done by hand. Acoma potters don't use a wheel. Instead, they mastered the art of coiling, building the vessel up, layer by layer, pinching and smoothing the clay coils together until the walls are perfectly uniform and thin. This skill takes years, even decades, to perfect. After the pot is formed and dried, it's coated with a fine white slip, creating a brilliant, smooth canvas. Then, the magic of the decoration begins. The designs are what truly set Acoma pottery apart. Using a brush made from yucca fibers, artists paint intricate, geometric patterns in black and orange. The black pigment comes from boiled wild spinach or other plants, and the orange from iron-rich clay. Every line, every shape, is filled with meaning. You might see fine, parallel lines representing life-giving rain, or geometric bird motifs, often called parrot designs, symbolizing the connection between the heavens and the earth. Other common symbols include lightning, mountains, and stylized feathers. These aren't just decorations. They are prayers, stories, and a reflection of the Acoma worldview, a deep reverence for nature and the balance of life. Historically, this pottery was made for everyday use, for carrying water, storing grain, and for ceremonial purposes. Each piece was functional and beautiful. The women of the Pueblo were, and still are, the primary keepers of this tradition. Mothers teach their daughters, grandmothers teach their granddaughters. It's an intimate transfer of knowledge, not just of technique, but of the stories and cultural significance behind each pot. Imagine learning these skills as a young girl, your hands guided by your mother's, learning the feel of the clay, the rhythm of the painting, the stories held within the patterns. It's a powerful cultural inheritance. One of the most remarkable things is how Acoma potters have adapted while holding fast to their roots. While the traditional forms like the alia, or water jar, are still made, artists now create a wide variety of shapes, from small seed pots to large, sculptural pieces. They experiment with new interpretations of old designs, ensuring the art form remains vibrant and relevant. Many potters like the legendary Lucy M. Lewis and her descendants have become world-renowned artists, their work sought after by collectors and museums globally. They brought Acoma pottery to the world stage, sharing its beauty and deep cultural roots far beyond the mesa. When you hold a piece of Acoma pottery, you're not just holding a beautiful object. You're holding a piece of the earth, a piece of history, and a piece of a living, breathing culture. You can feel the hands that shaped it, the spirit that guided the brush, and the centuries of tradition that flow through it. It's a testament to the resilience and creativity of the Acoma people. Each pot tells a story of survival, of community, and of an unbreakable connection to the land and the sky. The firing process is another critical step, and one filled with risk and prayer. Traditionally, the pots are fired outdoors. They are carefully stacked and covered with shards of old pottery and dried dung, which serves as fuel. The fire has to be managed perfectly to reach the right temperature without cracking the delicate vessels. It is a tense and crucial moment where the potter's hard work is either brought to completion or lost. A successful firing transforms the soft clay into hard ceramic, vitrifying the surface and setting the painted designs forever. Today, if you visit the Acoma Pueblo, you can meet the artists and see their work firsthand. It's an incredible experience to speak with the creators, to hear them talk about their process and the meaning behind their art. It provides a context that you just can't get from a museum display. These artists are not just preserving a tradition, they are actively shaping its future, ensuring that the art of the earth will continue to tell the story of the Acoma people for many more generations to come. Their work is a powerful reminder that art can be a vessel for culture, a bridge between past and present, and a beautiful expression of the human spirit. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to Sky City, to learn about the incredible tradition of Acoma pottery. I hope it inspires you to look closer at the art around you and the stories it might hold. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more explorations into the world's most fascinating art forms. We'll see you in the next chapter. Have you ever wondered how people remembered their history before the invention of writing? How did ancient societies pass down their knowledge, their triumphs, and their tragedies from one generation to the next? The answer is as old as humanity itself, through the power of the spoken word, through oral traditions and storytelling. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating world where history wasn't written in books but was woven into the very fabric of daily life through stories, songs, and ceremonies. Long before ink ever touched paper, the human voice was the ultimate library. Imagine a world where every story, every law, every piece of wisdom had to be memorized and passed down perfectly. This wasn't just about entertainment. It was about survival. These oral histories were the encyclopedias, the history books, and the legal codes of their time. They contained everything a community needed to know: where to find water, which plants were safe to eat, how to track animals, and the genealogies that connected them to their ancestors. Every song sung, every epic poem recited, was a living, breathing archive. Think of it like a human internet, a network of minds holding a culture's entire database, passed from person to person. This incredible feat of memory ensured that the lessons of the past were never lost, shaping the identity and future of the people. At the heart of this intricate system were the elders. They weren't just old. They were revered as the living libraries of their communities. Their minds were treasure chests of accumulated knowledge and experience. Teaching wasn't done in a formal classroom with textbooks. Instead, it happened around a fire, during a long walk, or while working side by side. Through storytelling, an elder could teach a child about courage by recounting the tale of a legendary hunter, or explain the importance of community by telling a story about how the village survived a great flood by working together. These weren't just abstract lessons. They were vivid, engaging narratives that captured the imagination. The elders were the guardians of the culture, the mentors who shaped the minds and morals of the next generation. Their role was crucial, ensuring that the flame of knowledge was passed on, undimmed. The setting for these lessons was often as important as the stories themselves. Can you picture it? The sun has set, the day's work is done, and the community gathers close together, the flickering firelight dancing on their faces. This was the time for night stories. Under the vast, starry sky, the world of myths and legends would come alive. These stories often explained the mysteries of the universe, how the stars were formed, why the seasons change, the origins of their own people. They weren't just bedtime stories. They were a way of understanding one's place in the cosmos. The darkness itself added to the magic, focusing everyone's attention on the storyteller's voice, making the fantastic seem real and the ancient feel present. And then there were the ceremonial songs. These were not casual tunes. They were powerful, sacred acts performed during significant events like births, coming-of-age rituals, marriages, and funerals. Each ceremony had its own specific songs, chants, and dances. These performances weren't just for show. They were a way to connect with the spiritual world, to honor ancestors, and to reinforce the social bonds of the community. A harvest song wouldn't just be about gathering crops. It would be a prayer of thanks and a plea for future abundance. A war chant wasn't just for building morale. It was believed to provide spiritual protection. These songs were the rhythmic heartbeat of the culture, marking the passage of time and the milestones of life, embedding historical and cultural memory into the very soul of the people. Think about the structure of these stories and songs. Repetition was a key element, not because the storytellers lacked creativity, but because it was a powerful mnemonic device. Catchy rhythms, refrains, and familiar formulas made vast amounts of information easier to remember and recall accurately. You see this in epic poems like the Iliad or the Odyssey, which originated as oral traditions long before they were written down. The use of vivid imagery, personification of nature, and archetypal characters. The brave hero, the cunning trickster made the stories relatable and unforgettable. This wasn't just art. It was a highly sophisticated technology for information, storage, and retrieval, honed over countless generations. Even as writing became more common, oral traditions didn't just disappear. They adapted. They continued to exist alongside written texts, often complementing them. Think about family histories passed down through anecdotes at reunion, or the ghost stories we tell around a campfire. These are modern echoes of those ancient practices. The skill of the storyteller using their voice, gestures, and expressions to captivate an audience remains a powerful form of communication. It creates a direct, personal connection that a written page can't always replicate. It reminds us that history isn't just a collection of dates and facts. It's a collection of human experiences, emotions, and shared memories. Suddenly you hear a traditional folk song, listen to a grandparent tell a story from their youth, or even share a memorable anecdote with a friend. Remember that you are participating in one of humanity's oldest and most vital traditions. You are helping to keep history alive, not on a dusty shelf, but in the living, breathing space between people. The power of storytelling is the power to connect, to teach, and to preserve who we are. It's a legacy written not with ink, but in the heart and on the tongue. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the world of oral traditions. I hope it's given you a new appreciation for the power of a good story. What are some of your favorite stories that have been passed down in your family or community? Share them in the comments below. I'd love to read them. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more fascinating aspects of human history and culture, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until next time, keep listening and keep sharing. Upbeat, thoughtful music begins and then fades to the background. Hello, and welcome back to our journey through the heart of Acoma Pueblo. Today, we're exploring something incredibly special, something that breathes life into the very stones of Sky City. The Keres language. Have you ever thought about how a language is more than just words? How it's a living library of a people's history, their soul, and their connection to the world. That's exactly what Keres is for the Acoma people. Keres is one of the ancient Pueblo languages spoken here in the Southwest. It's not just a way to communicate. It's a vessel that carries centuries of tradition, stories, and sacred knowledge. Imagine a language where every word for a mountain, a river, or a plant is tied to a specific story or a spiritual meaning passed down through countless generations. When an Acoma elder speaks Keres, they aren't just talking. They are weaving a tapestry of their ancestors' experiences. It's the sound of their history, echoing through the plazas and homes of the Pueblo. But like many indigenous languages around the world, Keres has faced immense challenges. For generations, outside pressures and assimilation policies threatened to silence it. Children were often discouraged, or even forbidden, from speaking their native tongue in schools. This wasn't just an attack on words. It was an attempt to sever the vital connection between the people, their culture, and their identity. The potential loss of a language like Keres means losing a unique worldview, a way of understanding life that can't be fully translated into English or any other language. The good news, the Acoma people are fighters. They are resilient, and they are not letting their language fade away. There's a powerful and inspiring movement happening right now within the community to revitalize Keres. This isn't just about preserving the past. It's about ensuring a vibrant future. From the youngest children to the respected elders, the entire community is involved in this beautiful effort. So, how are they doing it? One of the most important initiatives is the Acoma Language Retention Program. This program is a cornerstone of the revitalization effort, creating a space where the language can thrive. In classrooms, you'll find dedicated teachers, many of them fluent elders, sharing their knowledge with a younger generation. They use creative and engaging methods, going beyond simple vocabulary lists. They teach through traditional stories, songs that have been sung for centuries, and hands-on cultural activities. Imagine children learning the Keres word for clay while actually shaping pottery with their own hands, just as their ancestors did. This immersive approach makes the language real, tangible, and deeply meaningful. These programs are creating a new generation of Keres speakers. It's a joy to see young children chatting in Keres, their voices filling the air with the sounds of their heritage. This ensures that the language will not only survive, but will continue to evolve and adapt with the community. It's about building a bridge from the ancient past to a strong, culturally rich future. But the effort extends far beyond the classroom walls. Cultural preservation is a community-wide mission. Families are re-embracing Keres in their homes, making it the language of daily life once again. Grandparents are teaching their grandchildren traditional prayers and songs. Community events, from feast days to cultural gatherings, are conducted in Keres, reinforcing its importance and normalizing its use in every aspect of Acoma life. It's a collective commitment, a declaration that their language is the heartbeat of their pueblo. Think about the profound connection between language, memory, and the land itself. For the Acoma, Keres is the key that unlocks this connection. The names of places aren't just labels on a map. They are stories. A particular mesa might be named for a historical event that happened there, a specific rock formation for a spirit that is said to reside within it. To speak Keres is to see the landscape come alive with meaning and history. The language holds the collective memory of the people, their migrations, their triumphs, and their spiritual beliefs. When you lose the language, you lose that map of meaning. The land becomes silent. By keeping Keres alive, the Acoma are ensuring that their children, and that children as children, will always know their place in the world, not just geographically, but spiritually. It's an unbreakable bond that ties them to their ancestral home, to the sky above, and to the earth beneath their feet. The language is the spirit of the land made audible. This powerful relationship between language and identity is universal. Our own languages shape how we see the world, how we express love, and how we remember our families. The fight to save Keres is a reminder to all of us of the preciousness of linguistic diversity. Every language that is lost is a library of human experience burned to the ground. The work being done at Acoma isn't just for the Acoma people. It's an inspiration for Indigenous communities everywhere, and a lesson for all of humanity. It is a testament to the idea that culture is not a static relic to be placed in a museum. It is a living, breathing force that must be nurtured, spoken, and celebrated every single day. The revitalization of Keres shows us that with dedication, community, and love, the people can reclaim their voice and strengthen their identity for generations to come. It's a story of hope, resilience, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Acoma language. I hope it has given you a new appreciation for the intricate connection between our words and our worlds. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up. And do you want to forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next chapter. We have so much more to explore together. Until next time, stay curious. Welcome back to our journey through history. Today, we arrive at our final chapter, Chapter 15, The Sky City Today. After centuries of turmoil, resilience, and adaptation, what has become of Acoma Pueblo, the city in the sky? The incredible answer is that it endures, not as a ruin or a relic of a forgotten past, but as a vibrant, living community. Even now, you can feel the pulse of history beating atop that magnificent mesa. The Sky City remains open to visitors, offering a rare and precious window into a way of life that has persisted for over 1,000 years. It's not just a tourist destination, it's a pilgrimage for anyone seeking to understand the deep roots of American history. Long before the first European ships ever reached these shores, when you walk the sun-drenched paths of Acoma, you're not just exploring an ancient site, you're walking through a neighborhood. Many of the homes you see, these beautiful, multi-storied adobe structures, are still owned and occupied, at least part-time, by Acoma families. Generations of the same families continue to return, especially for important ceremonies, feast days, and family gatherings. Imagine that your family home isn't just a house in the suburbs, but a fortress on a mesa, a direct link to your ancestors stretching back countless generations. This is what makes Acoma so profoundly unique. It is a living museum, but unlike a typical museum where artifacts are sealed behind glass, here, the culture's alive and breathing. It's in the clay pots shaped by skilled hands, in the scent of baking bread wafting from traditional hornos or outdoor ovens, and in the stories shared by the guides, many of whom are tribal members themselves. They don't just recite facts. They share their personal history, their family's story, and their people's legacy. Touring the Pueblo, you'll be guided through this remarkable landscape. You'll see the San Esteban del Rey Mission Church, a monumental testament to both conflict and convergence. Its massive adobe walls, built with labor from the Acoma people, and its hand-hewn vigas, or ceiling beams, carried from the distant mountains, speak volumes about the complex history of faith and survival here. The church stands not just as a symbol of Spanish influence, but as a symbol of the Acoma people's ability to incorporate new elements, while holding fast to their own core beliefs. The cemetery in front of the church is considered sacred ground, a final resting place for generations. The respect shown for this space is palpable, a quiet reminder of the continuum of life and death that is so central to Acoma's spirituality. It's a powerful illustration of how the past is never truly gone here. It's an integral part of the present. As you wander, you'll notice the intricate details of daily life, past and present. You'll see the natural cisterns carved into the rock that have collected precious rainwater for centuries, a lifeline in this arid environment. You'll see the ladders reaching up to the second and third stories of the homes, a defensive feature from the past that has become an iconic part of the Pueblos' architecture. The Acoma people themselves are the heart of this living history. Many are world-renowned artists, particularly for their pottery. Acoma Pottery is famous for its thin walls and intricate geometric designs, often painted in black and white with pops of orange. These aren't just decorative items, they are story vessels. Each line, each pattern, holds meaning, representing elements of the natural world rain, clouds, mountains, and animals that are so vital to their culture and existence. When you purchase a piece of pottery directly from an artist on the mesa, you're not just buying a souvenir. You are taking home a piece of a living tradition and directly supporting the community that keeps it alive. Visiting Acoma is an experience that changes you. It challenges your perception of time and history. Here, 1,000 years doesn't feel like a distant, abstract concept. It feels present, tangible, woven into the very stone beneath your feet and the air you breathe. It's a profound lesson in endurance. The Acoma people have weathered conquest, drought, and the pressures of the modern world. Yet their identity remains strong, their culture vibrant, and their connection to this sacred place unbreakable. Acoma Pueblo stands today as a powerful symbol of cultural persistence. It's a testament to the strength of a people who have held on to their traditions, their faith, and their home against all odds. It is more than just an ancient city. It is a beacon of resilience, a living story of survival, and a sacred home that continues to welcome the world, sharing its incredible legacy with all who come with an open heart and a willingness to listen. It is, and always will be, the Sky City. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the history of Acoma Pueblo. It's a story that deserves to be known and shared. If you enjoyed this series and want to explore more hidden histories with us, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world and allows us to keep bringing these important stories to light. Until next time, stay curious. Welcome back to our journey through the heart of Acoma Pueblo. In our previous chapters, we've explored the ancient Sky City, a place steeped in history and tradition, perched atop a magnificent mesa. But what about life today? Where do the Acoma people live, work, and dream in the 21st century? In this chapter, we descend from the heights of the past to explore the vibrant, modern communities that thrive at the base of the mesa. For centuries, Sky City was the center of the Acoma world. But as times changed, so did the needs of the people. While the mesa top remains the spiritual and ceremonial heart of the community, daily life for most Acoma families has moved down to the valley below. Here, in settlements like Acomita Macartis and Anzac, a new chapter of Acoma history is being written. Imagine trading the steep, rocky paths of the mesa for paved roads, and the ancient stone homes for modern houses with running water and electricity. This shift wasn't a rejection of tradition, but a practical adaptation, allowing families to more easily access schools, jobs, and the wider world. As you drive through these communities, you see the beautiful blend of old and new. You'll see kids playing basketball in their driveways, satellite dishes pointing towards the sky, and cars parked next to traditional outdoor ovens, called hornos, where bread is still baked in the ancestral way. This is the landscape of modern Acoma life, a place where American life coexists with a cultural identity that is thousands of years old. The connection to the mesa is ever present. From almost anywhere in the valley, you can look up and see the majestic silhouette of Sky City, a constant reminder of where they come from, a silent guardian watching over the communities below. One of the cornerstones of modern Acoma is education. The community places a huge emphasis on providing its children with the best possible start in life, while also ensuring they stay connected to their heritage. Schools in the area, like the Sky City Community School, have become vital centers for this mission. Here, Students learn math, science, and literature, but they also learn the Keres language, the traditional stories, and the cultural values that have defined the Acoma people for generations. The curriculum is designed to create well-rounded individuals who are prepared for college and careers, but who also carry a deep understanding and pride in their identity as Acoma people. Education here isn't just for children. The community actively promotes lifelong learning. You'll find programs that teach traditional arts, workshops on the Keres language for adults, and initiatives that pass down agricultural knowledge. It's a holistic approach, recognizing that a strong community is one where everyone, from the youngest child to the oldest elder, is constantly learning and growing. This commitment ensures that the flame of Acoma culture not only continues to burn, but burns brighter with each new generation, fully prepared to navigate the complexities of the modern world. Just as important as education is the flourishing art scene. Acoma has long been famous for its exquisite pottery, a tradition passed down through countless generations. Today, this artistic legacy is more vibrant than ever. In the communities below the mesa, you'll find numerous art cooperatives and galleries where artists work and sell their creations. These aren't just shops. They are lively hubs of creativity and cultural exchange. Here, you can meet the artists, watch them work their magic with clay and paint, and hear the stories behind their intricate designs. The Acoma Cultural Center and Haku Museum, located at the base of the mesa, stands as a testament to this artistic and cultural vitality. It is a world-class facility that serves as a gateway for visitors and a vital resource for the community. Inside, you can explore stunning exhibits on Acoma history, art, and culture. The museum houses a breathtaking collection of pottery, both historic and contemporary, showcasing the evolution of this unique art form. The Cultural Center also hosts workshops, demonstrations, and cultural events, providing a space for the community to gather, celebrate, and share their heritage with the world. It's a living, breathing institution that embodies the resilience and creativity of the Acoma people. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of modern Acoma life is this delicate and ongoing dance of balancing the new with the old. How do you participate in a global economy while fulfilling your ceremonial duties? How do you use a smartphone to organize a traditional feast? These are the questions Acoma people navigate every single day. Many residents have jobs in nearby towns and cities, working as teachers, doctors, engineers, and entrepreneurs. They commute, pay mortgages, and shop at supermarkets, just like anyone else in America. But their lives are also structured by a different calendar, one based on ancient traditions, ceremonies, and communal responsibilities. A family might spend their weekend preparing for a relative's feast day, a community-wide celebration that involves days of cooking and hosting hundreds of guests. An individual might take time off from their modern job to participate in religious observances that have been practiced on the mesa for 1,000 years. It's not about choosing one world over the other. It's about weaving them together into a single, cohesive way of life. This skillful integration is a source of immense strength and identity for the Acoma people. This balance is a conscious choice, a daily commitment to upholding the values of their ancestors while embracing the opportunities of the present. It's about ensuring that children learn the Keres language alongside English, that traditional farming techniques are valued as much as modern science, and that respect for the elders and the land remains the foundation of the community no matter how much the world outside may change. This duality isn't a conflict, it's a source of resilience. It allows the Acoma people to be both deeply rooted and dynamically adaptable, a quality that has enabled them to thrive for centuries and will continue to carry them into the future. So, as we conclude our visit to the communities below the mesa, we leave with a profound appreciation for the Acoma people of today. They are not a people frozen in time, but a dynamic, forward-looking community that has masterfully blended tradition with modernity. Life here in the valley, under the watchful gaze of Sky City, is a powerful story of cultural survival, adaptation, and pride. It's a story written in the laughter of children at the community school, the hands of an artist shaping clay, and the enduring spirit of a people who honor their past as they build their future. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of modern Acoma. I hope it's given you a deeper understanding of this incredible community. If you enjoyed this video and want to continue learning with us, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next chapter. We love hearing from you, so please share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious. Welcome back to our journey through history. Today, we're delving into a story of incredible resilience, cultural heritage, and the delicate balance between sharing a legacy and protecting it. We're talking about Acoma Pueblo, the Sky City, and the vital work of its preservation. Imagine living in a city built atop a 367-foot sandstone mesa, a place inhabited continuously for nearly 1,000 years. The very structures of Acoma Pueblo are not just buildings, they are living documents, testaments to generations of Acoma people. But these ancient adobe and stone homes are fragile. Perched high in the New Mexico desert, they are constantly exposed to the elements, harsh sun, the driving winds, and the seasonal rains. Each crack in an adobe wall, each bit of erosion on the mesa's edge, represents a potential loss of irreplaceable history. The preservation of Acoma isn't just about architectural maintenance. It's about safeguarding the physical heart of a culture. The materials themselves, the earth, water, straw, and stone are sourced from the land, mixed and applied using techniques passed down through countless generations. This process is a tradition in itself, a tangible connection to ancestors who built these same homes centuries ago. Protecting these structures means protecting the knowledge, the skills, and the very soul of the Acoma people. This profound cultural significance has not gone unnoticed by the wider world. Acoma Pueblo holds the distinguished title of a National Historic Landmark in the United States, a designation that recognizes its exceptional value to the nation's history. This was a crucial first step in formally acknowledging the importance of Sky City, but the recognition extends even further onto the global stage. While Acoma is on the tentative list for UNESCO World Heritage status, its inclusion would place it alongside wonders like the Pyramids of Giza and the Great Wall of China. What does this mean? It's an international acknowledgement that Acoma Pueblo is a treasure belonging to all of humanity. UNESCO recognition brings with it a framework for preservation and a global spotlight, which can attract resources and expertise to help with the complex and costly work of maintaining these ancient structures. It validates what the Acoma people have always known, that their home is a place of universal value, a beacon of human endurance and cultural continuity that deserves the utmost protection for future generations both within and outside the community. So, how do you protect a sacred, living community, while also sharing its incredible story with the world? This is the central challenge that the Acoma people navigate every single day. The answer lies in their thoughtful and deliberate management of tourism. The Acoma Tribal Council has established a system that puts the community's needs and cultural privacy first. Visitors aren't free to wander at will. Instead, they are welcomed on guided tours led by Acoma community members. This approach is brilliant for several reasons. Firstly, it ensures that the story of Acoma is told by those who know it best, Acoma people themselves. Visitors hear first-hand accounts, personal stories, and the true meaning behind the architecture, the kivas, and the traditions. It transforms a simple visit into a profound cultural exchange. Secondly, this controlled access protects the privacy of the families who still live on the mesa. It ensures that their homes and sacred spaces are respected, preventing the Pueblo from becoming a mere tourist attraction. The community decides which areas are open to visitors and which remain private, maintaining a crucial boundary between public education and sacred life. Furthermore, the revenue generated from tourism, including tour fees and the sale of their world-renowned pottery and crafts, is channeled directly back into the community. These funds are essential for preservation projects, infrastructure maintenance, and supporting the residents. It's a self-sustaining model where sharing their culture provides the very means to protect it. Photography is also strictly regulated, a measure that underscores the respect for the sacredness of the place and its people. You can't just snap a picture of anything you want. This policy encourages visitors to be present, to listen, and to connect with the experience rather than just capturing it through a lens. It's a powerful reminder that Acoma is not a museum exhibit. It is a living, breathing, and spiritually active home. Through this careful stewardship, the Acoma people have created a blueprint for responsible cultural tourism, proving that it is possible to open your doors to the world without losing your soul. They are the primary authors and guardians of their own narrative, ensuring that the legacy of Sky City endures with integrity and respect. This incredible balance between preservation, privacy, and public education is a lesson for us all. It demonstrates a deep understanding of cultural value and a commitment to future generations. The story of Acoma's preservation is not just about ancient walls and international accolades. It's about a community's sovereign right to control its own destiny and share its heritage on its own terms. It's a powerful example of how to honor the past, live vibrantly in the present, and build a sustainable future. The continued existence of Sky City is a testament to the strength, wisdom, and enduring spirit of the Acoma people. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of Acoma and its remarkable preservation efforts. It's a story that deserves to be told and respected. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell for more journeys into our world's incredible history and cultures. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious. Upbeat, slightly mysterious intro music fades into the background. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our journey through history and culture. Today, we're diving deep into Chapter 18, Spiritual Life and Ceremonies. Have you ever wondered how ancient societies connected with the world around them? It wasn't just about survival. It was a profound spiritual relationship, a dance between humanity, nature, and the divine. Let's explore how these beliefs shaped entire civilizations. Imagine a world where your very existence is tied to the rhythm of the earth. This was the reality for countless agricultural societies. Their spiritual calendars weren't marked by abstract dates, but by tangible, life-giving events. The first and most crucial ceremony was for planting. This wasn't merely putting seeds in the ground, it was a sacred act. Communities would gather, led by elders or spiritual leaders, to bless the seeds and the soil. They would offer prayers, songs, and sometimes symbolic sacrifices to awaken the earth's fertility, asking for her cooperation in the coming season. It was a moment of collective hope and a promise to work in harmony with the land. Think of it as a contract with nature, initiated with reverence and respect. After planting, all eyes would turn to the sky. The next great ceremony was for rain. In many cultures, rain wasn't just a weather phenomenon. It was a gift from the gods, a blessing bestowed upon the worthy. When the skies were dry and the young sprouts were thirsty, the community would come together for intricate rainmaking rituals. These could involve specific dances that mimicked the falling rain, chants that echoed for miles, or the creation of special altars dedicated to sky or water deities. These weren't acts of desperation, but powerful affirmations of faith, a collective plea to the heavens to quench the thirst of the earth and ensure the survival of the crops, and by extension, the people. Then, if the planting was successful and the rains came, the season would culminate in the most joyous celebration of all, the Harvest Festival. This was a massive, community-wide expression of gratitude. The first fruits of the harvest were often offered back to the earth or to the gods as a thank you for their bounty. Feasting, music, and dancing would go on for days. The Harvest Festival wasn't just about celebrating the food they had gathered. It was a celebration of life itself, a recognition of the successful partnership between human effort, the generosity of the earth, and the favor of the spiritual realm. It reinforced community bonds and marked the successful completion of the annual cycle. Now, one of the most fascinating aspects of spiritual history is how these ancient beliefs adapt and evolve. When new faiths, like Catholicism, spread across the globe, they didn't just erase what was there before. Instead, a remarkable blending often occurred, a process we call syncretism. Indigenous communities found clever and meaningful ways to weave their ancestral traditions into the new religious framework. For example, a traditional earth goddess might become associated with the Virgin Mary. A harvest festival that once honored a local deity could be rescheduled to coincide with a Catholic Saint Nestor. The sacred mountains or rivers of the ancestors might become sites for Christian pilgrimages. This blending wasn't a dilution of faith, but a powerful act of cultural preservation and reinterpretation. It allowed people to adopt new beliefs while still honoring the spiritual truths of their ancestors. The rituals took on new layers of meaning. An offering to a saint might simultaneously be an offering to an ancient spirit of the land. The sign of the cross might be made over the soil before planting, combining a Christian symbol with an age-old agricultural practice. This created a unique, hybrid spirituality that was deeply personal and culturally resonant, a testament to the resilience and creativity of the human spirit in making sense of the world. So, why were these rituals so important? What was their ultimate purpose? At their core, these ceremonies were about maintaining harmony. Ancient peoples believed in a delicate balance between the human world, the natural world, and the spiritual realm of the ancestors. Sickness, drought, or famine were seen as signs that this balance had been disturbed. Rituals were the primary way to restore it. By performing ceremonies for planting, rain, and harvest, people weren't just asking for favors. They were actively participating in the cosmic order. They were showing respect to the spirits of the land, acknowledging their dependence on nature's cycles. Furthermore, these rituals were essential for honoring the ancestors. In many belief systems, ancestors weren't gone. They were powerful spiritual guardians who watched over their living descendants. They acted as intermediaries between humans and the gods. Rituals were a way to communicate with the ancestors, to seek their guidance, and to assure them that their traditions were being upheld. By maintaining this connection, the community ensured its spiritual protection and continuity. In essence, these ceremonies were the glue that held their entire worldview together, creating a web of relationships that connected every person to their community, their environment, and their entire lineage, past, present, and future. From the first blessed seed placed in the soil to the final dance of the harvest festival, these spiritual practices reveal a profound understanding of interconnectedness. They show us a world where spirituality was unconfined to a building or a specific day of the week, but was woven into the very fabric of daily life. This blending of ancient and new beliefs, and the constant effort to maintain harmony, demonstrates a deep, enduring wisdom that still resonates with us today. It reminds us that our relationship with the world around us can be one of reverence, reciprocity, and respect. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of spiritual life and ceremonies. I hope it gave you a new perspective on the rich tapestry of human belief. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And do you not forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next chapter. We love hearing from you, so please share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're journeying to a place that seems to touch the sky. A place etched into the very heart of the American Southwest. We're exploring Acoma Pueblo, famously known as Sky City, and uncovering the profound lessons it holds for all of us. This isn't just a trip to a historical site. It's an exploration of resilience, sustainability, and the deep, unbreakable bonds of belonging. Imagine a city perched atop a massive 367-foot sandstone mesa, a fortress carved by nature and inhabited for centuries. This is Acoma Pueblo. For over 2,000 years, the Acoma people have called this breathtaking, yet formidable, landscape their home. Think about that for a moment. While empires rose and fell, while the world outside changed beyond recognition, this community endured, adapting and thriving in an environment that many would consider unforgiving. This very landscape teaches the first and most powerful lesson: resilience. The high desert of New Mexico is a land of extreme scorching sun, biting winds, and scarce water. Yet, the Acoma people didn't just survive here. They built a flourishing society. They learned the rhythms of the earth, the secrets of the seasons, and the art of living in harmony with a harsh but beautiful world. Their homes, made from the very earth beneath their feet and stone, mud, and straw. A testament to this ingenuity, these structures stand strong against the elements, providing shelter and a sense of permanence that is truly awe-inspiring. Their resilience isn't just physical, it's cultural. Throughout history, the Acoma have faced immense challenges, from droughts to external conflicts. Yet, they held on to their traditions, their language, and their identity. Their stories, passed down through generations, are not just tales of the past. They are living blueprints for survival, for community, and for maintaining a spiritual connection to their land. This is the quiet dignity of a people who never truly left their home. Even as modern life has drawn many to the valleys below for work and school, the pull of the mesa, the spiritual heart of their world, remains as strong as ever. Now, let's talk about sustainability, a word we hear a lot today, but one that the Acoma have practiced for millennia. In Sky City, nothing is wasted. Water, the most precious resource, is collected and conserved with incredible care. For centuries, they relied on natural cisterns in the rock to capture every drop of rain. Their agriculture was a masterclass in dryland farming. They developed unique strains of corn, beans, and squash that could thrive with minimal water, planting them in the canyons and valleys where moisture would naturally collect. This approach extends to every facet of life. The Acoma are renowned for their stunning pottery, and if you look closely, you'll see the story of their environment in every piece. The clay is sourced from the surrounding land. The paints are derived from natural minerals and plants. The intricate geometric patterns often represent elements of their world rain, clouds, mountains, and the cycle of life. This art isn't just for decoration. It's a functional, beautiful expression of their relationship with the earth. It's a physical manifestation of sustainability, where resources are used respectfully and purposefully, ensuring they will be there for generations to come. This teaches us a crucial lesson. Living sustainably isn't about sacrifice. It's about a deeper understanding and appreciation of the world around us. It's about recognizing that we are part of an ecosystem, not separate from it. But perhaps the most moving lesson from Sky City is about belonging. What does it mean to truly belong to a place? For the Acoma, home is more than just a collection of buildings. It's a living entity, infused with the spirits of their ancestors and the stories of their people. The mesa isn't just a rock. It's the center of their universe. This profound connection creates an unshakable sense of community and identity. In our modern, often transient world, many of us feel a sense of displacement. We move for jobs, for opportunities, for change, and in the process, we can lose our roots. Acoma reminds us of the power of having a place to call home, a place that knows you and holds your history. It's a community where everyone is connected, not just by blood, but by shared experience, shared struggle, and shared celebration. The festivals and ceremonies that still take place on the mesa top are a vibrant display of this collective spirit, a powerful affirmation that they are, and always will be, the people of Acoma. This sense of belonging fosters a deep responsibility. When a place is truly your home, you care for it, you protect it, you ensure its legacy. The Acoma people's stewardship of their ancestral lands is a powerful example of this. They are not just inhabitants, they are guardians. This is a powerful counter-narrative to the modern idea of land as a commodity to be bought and sold. Here, land is family. It is heritage. It is the very foundation of their existence. As we reflect on our visit to this incredible place, the lessons are clear and deeply relevant to our lives today. Acoma Pueblo stands as a powerful testament to the human spirit's ability to adapt and endure. It shows us that true sustainability comes from a relationship of respect and reciprocity with our environment, and it reminds us of the profound human need for a place to belong, a community to hold us, and a history to ground us. The quiet dignity of the Acoma people is not one of passivity, but of immense strength. It is the strength of knowing who you are, where you come from, and the responsibility you carry to honor that legacy. In a world that often feels chaotic and disconnected, the enduring story of Sky City offers a beacon of hope and a model for a more harmonious way of living. It teaches us that by understanding our past and respecting our environment, we can build a resilient and meaningful future, not just for ourselves, but for all the generations that will follow. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to Sky City. I hope it's given you as much to think about as it has for me. If you found this story inspiring, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more explorations into the incredible stories our world has to offer. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, travel thoughtfully and stay curious. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you're standing atop a vast sandstone mesa, high above the desert floor. Feel the wind as it whispers across the ancient rock, a sound that has carried stories for 1,000 years. See the world bathed in a soft, golden light as the sun begins its slow descent, painting the landscape in hues of orange, red, and deep purple. In the distance, a faint, rhythmic pulse, the echo of drums, a heartbeat connecting the present to a deep and storied past. This is Acoma, the Sky City. A place where time seems to bend, where the sky feels a little closer, and the earth holds the memory of countless generations. For over a millennium, people have lived here, their lives woven into the very fabric of this incredible landscape. They have woken to the same sunrises, sought shade under the same dramatic rock formations, and looked up at the same star-dusted night sky. Think about what it means to have such an unbroken chain of human experience. 1,000 years of life, love, struggle, and celebration, all in one place. Children's laughter echoing in the plazas where their ancestors once played. The hands of potters shaping clay, using techniques passed down from grandmother to granddaughter, each piece a vessel of history. The quiet rhythm of daily life, attuned to the seasons and the sky. This isn't just a historical site, it's a living, breathing community. The homes, built from the very earth they stand on, are not relics. They are lived in. The traditions are not just remembered, they are practiced. The language is not just studied, it is spoken. The continuity is astounding. While empires have risen and fallen, while the world below has transformed beyond recognition, life on the mesa has endured. This endurance is a powerful testament to the resilience and spirit of the Acoma people. Their connection to this land is profound. It's more than just a place to live. It's the core of their identity, their spiritual center, their anchor in a changing world. Every stone, every pathway, every vista tells a part of their story. Walking through the village, you can feel it. You can feel the weight and the wisdom of the centuries. You see it in the weathered adobe walls and the intricate patterns of the pottery. And in the eyes of the people who call this place home, they are the guardians of a legacy, the keepers of a flame that has burned brightly for 1,000 years. Imagine the ceremonies that have taken place here, under the vast, open sky. The dances that honor the rain, the corn, and the cycle of life. The stories told around crackling fires on cold winter nights, passed from one generation to the next, weaving a rich tapestry of mythology, history, and moral lessons. These traditions are the threads that bind the community together, connecting them not only to each other, but to all who came before. The Acoma people have faced incredible challenges. They have adapted and persevered, holding fast to their culture while navigating the complexities of the modern world. Their story is one of survival, of strength, and of an unshakable bond with their ancestral home. It's a story that reminds us of the importance of roots, of knowing where you come from, and of honoring the legacy of those who walked the path before you. As we stand here in this moment of quiet reflection, let the serenity of the mesa wash over you. The wind continues its ancient song, the golden light softens, and the distant drums fade into the silence of the twilight. The world seems to fall away, leaving only the sky above and the earth below. It's a place that invites you to slow down, to listen, and to connect with something timeless and profound. Here, above the world, the Acoma still watch the sky, just as their ancestors did, centuries ago. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to the Sky City. If this story moved you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more explorations into the incredible history and cultures that shape our world. We'll see you in the next one.